Culture Uncut. This is Culture Uncut. This is Culture Uncut. I am your host, Jason Spears, and Colt fans, we've got a lot to talk about. This is Culture Uncut. I am your host, Jason Spears, back with a Colts-Jags preview. The Colts travel to Duval County, or as Liam Cohen likes to say, Duval County, to play the Jags this week in I would say, a regime-defining game. I think this is a huge game for both Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard. The Colts have not won, we all know, in Jacksonville since 2014. That needs to end this week for this season to turn back around. I do think it's possible. Just a couple things off the bat. I looked at the meteorology, the weather, whatever, for Sunday. It is, based on what I read, supposed to rain throughout the game. So I don't know who that gives a advantage to. But it looks like it's going to be bad weather, so going to have to be a focus on taking care of the ball and, not putting it on the ground. The Colts are somehow favored by 1.5 in this game. That is astounding to me. That makes me believe maybe they know something we don't, but whatever. So coming into this game, the Colts are 8-4. The Jags are 8-4. Division records are both 2-1. Conference record, Colts are 6-3 and 5-2. So this is a monster game for both teams. It will give whoever wins it a big leg up in winning this division. I checked out the injury report, and here's what I saw for Jacksonville. Obviously, for the Colts, we're going to be without Sauce. We're going to be without Buck. That's known. I think everybody else will play. And barring some last-second thing, I think we will see Carlisle this week, which is a good sign. So that should help. Because if they don't activate him this week, I think he reverts back to injured reserve. So I'm guessing he's going to be activated. But just looking at the Jags and their injury report, let's see, Parker Washington, who was one of their best players, just looking at the statistics and watching some of their games. He's a great slot receiver. He's a hell of a punt returner. He was limited, but I obviously think he's going to play. Trayvon Walker, their other bookend defensive end, was limited. I think he is going to play. Eric Armstead was limited as well with a hand injury. I think he is going to play with a club or whatever on his hand. He was limited, but I do think he will play. The two guys I think that probably will not play are Andrew Weingard, who has a concussion and did not practice the last 2 days, and Walker Little, their right tackle, who had a concussion as well and did not practice. I think those guys probably won't play. Usually, I think they got their concussions in their last game, so I think they're probably going to miss this game. So, the Colts defensive line's got to do work this week and, take advantage of whoever takes a little spot on the O-line. So, coming into this game, the Colts have obviously lost 3 out of 4 and are kind of hobbling into this game. Jags have won 3 in a row. They're 4-1 at home. The Colts are 2-3 on the road. And so, everything points to Jacksonville in this game, right? I mean, the injuries we have, we've lost our best defensive lineman, our best corner, and our best special teams player, and the Jags have an elite special teams, which I'll get to in a minute because I'm going to go through everything. But, everything points to the Jags. So maybe this is, when everything points one way, maybe it works the other way. That's what I hope. So just getting into their offense. The Jags offense is ranked 11th overall in points per game, averaging 24 points per game. Their play caller is Liam Cohen, who's done a really good job with them. They're 21st in passing yards and 11th in rushing yards, so they like to run the ball, and they're very good at it. Their offensive line, I think, is a much better run-blocking offensive line than pass-blocking from what I've seen. They're about a middle-of-the-pack O-line, and I think they might be down one player this week, so we'll see if we can take advantage of that. They're 26th in third down percentage. So our defense really needs to get off the field this week because they struggle staying on the field on third downs. So it's like, the immovable object meets the, whatever that saying is. The Colts have to get off the field on defense this week. They just have to. But just getting into their personnel, obviously we all know quarterback Trevor Lawrence, 2,636 yards, 60% completion percentage, 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, so he will turn the ball over. He's been sacked 32 times, and he has 4 game-winning drives. So he has led them back to some impressive wins. I think at the Chiefs game, I think the Arizona game as well. So if you give him the ball back, he can make things happen late in the game. So he's probably a middle of the pack quarterback. I honestly thought he'd be better than what he's been, but he's had good games against us, so we got to be ready to play. Running back, it's kind of a two-headed monster, but that the main headed monster, or the main head of that monster, is Travis Etienne, 843 yards rushing, 4.7 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns, 25 receptions, 173 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, they not only get him the ball in the run game, they get him the ball in the pass game. So, going to have to keep our eye on him out in the flat, make sure we tackle well. This team breaks a lot of tackles, so they're going to have to tackle much better than they have the past 2 weeks. At wide receiver, they got players. Brian Thomas Jr. cooked us last year. 32 receptions, 448 with a touchdown. He hasn't had that great of a year. I hope he doesn't have his breakout game this week. Wide receiver Parker Washington, 36 receptions, which leads the team. 447 yards, 3 touchdowns. They get the ball to him in space. He can run after catch. He's a very, very explosive player. They've got some other guys I'll get into in a second, but the guy I want to point out that maybe people aren't talking about is tight end Brenton Strange. 28 receptions, 342 yards, and a touchdown. The reason why I mention him is if you've noticed over the last couple of games, the middle of the field has been a problem. In-breaking routes, tight ends. In the last game, Houston's tight ends had 9 catches. I expect them to try to get the ball to Brenton Strange as much as possible because our linebackers struggle with coverage and the middle of the field is constantly open. So I hope the Colts have a plan for that. Other key players on offense, and I was going to, make this guy one of their key, one of the guys I highlighted, but I didn't want to go back and look at his Raiders numbers or whatever. But Jacoby Myers obviously is their number 2 receiver. He's solid. Tim Patrick is, when he's played, he's made some big plays for them. And then Bashal Tutin's kind of the second head of that two-headed monster in the run game. He's had a solid rookie year, and he runs the ball really, really hard. So they've got some players on offense. Like I said, their run blocking is solid, much better, I think, than their passing, than their pass pro. So middle of the pack offensive line, the Colts should be able to do some things against these guys. But like I said, they've got some players, and the middle of the field's got to be taken care of. And they've got every guy they have is either elusive or very physical, so they're going to have to wrap up and tackle much better this week than they have previously. And Trevor Lawrence will run. He's third on the team, I think, in rushing yards. Maybe not third, but he will run the ball for first down. So the Colts have to be ready to tackle him because he will get out and kind of like Tannehill used to do, just kill us getting first downs for clip at 10 yards a clip. We can't have that happen and keep them on the field in this game, or it'll be a long game. So that's a look at their offense. It's pretty good. I really like their play caller in Cohen. I think he's done an outstanding job. Coach, if they were to, hopefully not, but if they were to win a division, I think he's a Coach of the Year candidate for sure. I think he's done a good job with what he's been given. So that's a look at their offense. Now let's get into their defense. The Jags defense is 12th overall in points per game, allowing 21 a game. Their play callers, Anthony Campanelli. They're 23rd versus passing, and they're first versus the run. And you know what people have done to us? They've stopped the run and blitzed. He will play cover 6 in this game. He plays more cover 6 than most people, and I think against our offense, cover 6 is a good matchup. And also, I think he's going to play it more, and he's going to blitz more and try to take away the run game and make Daniel Jones beat us So we're going to have to be ready, have a good game plan to combat that, and have solutions to those questions immediately, and not have to, think about. You got to think ahead in these situations, and I think you know what they're going to try to accomplish. You got to be prepared for it. On third down, they're 21st, so they don't get off the field as much. They've gotten 24 sacks and they've forced 20 turnovers. They are third in forced turnovers. That is the number that you have to focus on. That's the number that's gotten them to 8-4. If they turn you over, they can turn it into a blowout, and they've done that a couple times. They blew out the Chargers doing that, and they went into San Francisco and won that game, and they've played beaten some really good teams by forcing turnovers. Huge interception by Lloyd in the Chiefs game, went back 99 yards. I think that was the biggest play in that game when the Chiefs were, I think, going to go up by, I think, 10 or maybe more. But he picked it off and took it back 99 yards. So this team forces turnovers, and they do get a lot of pressure from Hines Allen. So it doesn't always come in sacks, but he's got a high, I think, pressure percentage, and so the Colts have got to be prepared to stop him. So getting into their players, I looked at the guys that were the most impactful, because there's a lot of really solid players on their defense. So linebacker Devin Lloyd, 51 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 7 quarterback hits, 4 interceptions. Reminds me of Cato June that one year. I think it was 2005 where he had all those picks and made the All-Pro team. Yeah, he's got 4 picks at linebacker. That's huge. He's got a touchdown, the one I just talked about against Kansas City, that changed that game. So he's somebody you got to keep an eye on. Again, Josh Hines Allen, who I mentioned earlier, is always given the Colts problems. And he's, I think, the leading sacker in Jacksonville Jaguar history now, so that's pretty impressive. 33 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, only 6 sacks, but 19 quarterback hits. So he gets to the quarterback, he makes plays behind the line of scrimmage, he reestablishes the line of scrimmage and makes plays. 10 tackles for loss, gets in the quarterback's face, and that's what leads to the turnovers. Other key players that are definitely very, very talented and can affect the game: Eric Armstead, Trayvon Walker, Jordan Lewis, who's really good in the nickel, very talented player, Greg Newsome, who they traded for from Cleveland, Jerrion Jones, a young kid out of Florida State who I really liked, and Eric Murray, who has been out and is coming back off IR this week. So they've got a lot of really, really sound, good football players on defense, and it's going to be a tough matchup. They're very, very good in terms of forcing turnovers, getting to the quarterback, and just creating havoc. Their coordinator is very good at calling a game. I've watched quite a few of their games, and he's really good at knowing the right play to dial up at the right time. So going to be a test for our offensive brain trust once again to have our guys prepared and ready to play. So lastly, I'm going to mention their special teams. They're top tier in everything. On punt returns, Parker Washington's returned 19 punts for 323 yards, which is 17 yards per return and 2 touchdowns. The Colts have absolutely either got to keep the ball away from him, kick it out of the end zone, kick it, bury him inside the tent. They cannot let this guy return punts against them. He will kill them. Their kickoff returners do a good job as well in the return game, and we stunk last week in the return game as far as coverage went. Everything they did started at the 40-yard line. That cannot happen again this week. We've got to be better, tackle better, be in our gaps, and be where we're supposed to be, and make the plays where they're there, because special teams can change the game. We know that. We really, really miss Ashton Doolin. It was noticeable last week. I just hope they kick away from Parker Washington and don't even play games with him, because he will change the game. I think he had two in one game, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the Texans game, honestly. But and then I forgot to mention, how could I forget Cam Little, their kicker? This is where they have another huge advantage. Their kicker is 19 of 23, which is, I think, like 86 or 85% or whatever. 29 and 30 on extra points, and his long is 68. So this guy, their kicker, essentially can kick from anywhere. I think he made the 68-yarder at home. So that could be a problem because our kicker, outside of 39 yards, our new kicker, who was great in practice and didn't miss anything, um, he is actually 44% from outside of anything outside of 39 yards. So they have a massive advantage in special teams. So, yeah, that's concern. There's concerns all around in this game, but so just keys to the game, right? Um, we have to start fast, whether that's on offense or defense. If we have the ball first, we need to go down and score. No more 3-and-out garbage, right? We need to go down and get a touchdown. We have to start fast. On defense, get off the field. Got to get off the field. So that's start fast is one. Two, defense has got to get off the field on third down. Part of the reason they're so worn down at the end of the game is because they cannot get off the field on third down. They've got to be better. They are one of the worst teams in the league at doing it. That has got to change. They've got to figure this out. So that's the second key, because if you don't do that, you're going to be on the field. They're going to make you tired. You're going to start missing tackles. We've seen this over the last two games. Late in games, we're missing tackles. Mekhi Blackman last week missed a tackle in the game-clinching run. Like, you've got to make tackles to get off the field, to keep your guys fresh. You guys know all this. So my second key is getting off the field on third down. My third key is take care of the ball. Obviously, it's going to be raining. You've got to make it the number one priority to take care of the football, to put, tuck it away, put two hands on it. Do not, try to willy-nilly carry it. You've got to secure the football, run with it, and make sure you take care of it, because in the rain, it's very easy for the thing to become slippery and for you to fumble it. And that can change, one of those could change the entire complexion of the game. So they have to make sure they take care of the ball. That's in the pass game, the run game, every portion of the game. Got to do it. 4, and this is just something I've noticed the last couple weeks, is they've got to tackle better. And I think a lot of that is tied back to not getting off the field on third down. Because as the game goes on, in the last two games especially, the time of possession has been heavily weighted in plays and actual time of possession to the other team. So our defense has been on the field for an insane amount of plays. And while, yes, they've done a decent job of mitigating the damage, they lost both games because they couldn't get off the field. So they've got to tackle better. When the plays there to be made, they have to make it, 11 as one to the ball, make plays, tackle, fly around, be aggressive, do what you have to do, but get the guy on the ground. You've got to tackle better. They've been bad at it the last 2 weeks. They got, these all go together. So that's number 4, tackle better. 5, for the offense, stay ahead of the sticks. We don't need, in a game like this, in the rain, penalties, whatever. We can't be getting penalties. We can't be getting sacked. We can't, fumble the snap. We can't be doing those things, because in a game like this, you will be chasing the sticks. And when you're doing that, lends itself to turnovers. And this team feeds off turnovers. It's the biggest reason they're 8-4, because they force teams to turn the ball over. So you have to stay ahead of the sticks. I don't care if you run it 2 times for 4 yards, or 5 yards or whatever. 2 carries for 5 yards, 3rd and 5 is manageable. But anything outside of that is a lot more to ask against a defense that's pretty talented. So the Colts just have to play their game and execute. That's what it all comes down to: execution, playing smart, not playing dumb, doing the fundamental things, making plays when they're there to be made, and starting strong and finishing strong, something they didn't do last week. They started slow and they finished slow. They have to do the opposite this week and play a 60-minute game, or whatever it takes. 60 minutes, or if it goes to overtime, 70 minutes. Whatever it takes, they have to come out of this game with a win. If they do, it changes their season, and my outlook and everyone else's outlook is going to change. They have to win this game. This is the biggest game of the year, and in my opinion, the biggest game of this regime. Now, with that being said, my prediction, the Colts are favored in this game. My prediction is Jacksonville wins a close game. They have the advantage with the kicker. I feel like their kicker is going to make some insane kick that's going to end up winning them this game. And, I hope I'm wrong, but until they prove that they can win in Jacksonville, I'm going to continue to pick against them because they haven't won there since Andrew Luck and Reggie Wayne were on the team. Let that sink in. Robert Mathis and a bunch of other guys, Darius Butler and Trent Richardson. Yeah, that's the last time they beat this team. So prove it to me. Shut me up, please. Prove it to me. So I'm taking the Jags till proven otherwise. That's my thought. You guys, if you could leave a thought, what are your keys to the game? Who do you like in the game? Leave your scores. How big of a game do you think it is? Just leave your comments. I love reading your comments, and then I'll definitely get back to you after you leave them. So, with that being said, that is my Jags preview. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I tried to give you just a little bit of a snapshot of what they got going on all sides of the ball. Hope I did an okay job with that. So with that said, guys, I will see you Sunday after the game. I will be back for the Colts-Jags post-game show. Hopefully celebrating the first win in Jacksonville in a decade. So I hope everybody has a great rest of the week, a great weekend, and I will talk to you Sunday. This has been Culture Uncut with your host, Jason Spears.